Good morning, students. Today, let us proceed on the next class uh, on the chapter number two, the one that we have not discussed earlier in the previous class. So, in this class today, we'll be discussing about why should we accept the Constitution and what is these constitutional amendments, and lastly, the salient features of the Indian constitutions. So, first of all, let us go to the why should we accept the constitutions. Constitutions. If you look at the slide, there you will find in number one, over the last 64 years, no large social group or political party has ever questioned the legitimacy of the constitutions, about how the laws are made in the constitutions. No party, no political party or no social group ever questioned about the constitutions. And in number two, the Constituent Assembly represented the people of India. No universal other franchise, but geographical share of members from all the regions of the country. It means every people or every people from different parts of the country take parts in the constitutions, or everyone living in the geographical area of the country is remembered in the constitutions. An assembly represented members from different language groups, castes, classes, religion, and occupations. Represented members from we have the assembly represented members from the language groups, caste groups, classes, religions, and occupations. And finally, the Constituent Assembly work in a systematic, open, and consensual manner. Consensual means agreement. And the next, proceeding to the next, we have this constitutional amendment. When you say amendment, an amendment is a change or an addition to the terms of a contract, a law, a document, or a government regulatory filing. So why do we need a constitution amendment? Is because some guidelines given in a constitution might have become outdated. Outdated means old. So by the process of amendment, it is possible to add or modify existing rules of the constitutions. The Constitution of India came to force on 26 January 1950. At that point of time, since it was framed, many social and economic changes have taken place in the country. And that guideline that was framed in the 1950s might have become outdated. So we need to add more or modify the existing rules so that it would not be outdated. As the constitution continuously modifies itself to suit the needs of the people, it is called a living document. It continuously modifies itself to suit the needs of the peoples according to the time and place. And the next on the last, we have the salient features of the Indian constitution. Number one is the written constitutions. The constitution of India is written. It contains 395 articles and 12 schedules. After nearly 3 years of deliberations, the Constituent Assembly adopted the constitution on November 26, 1949, and came into effect on January 26, 1950. Most of its parts can be amended easily, can be changed easily, or can be modified easily. At the same time, some portions of it can be easily amended by a simple majority, like making of an ordinary laws. And the next, we have sovereign, democratic, and republic. In the last class, we have also discussed about this sovereign, democratic, and republic. So, proceeding on to the next, secular, socialist, also we have discussed about it, and fundamental rights and duties. The Constitution also grants us fundamental rights and duties. So, by fundamental rights, we mean that the Constitution of India grants certain basic rights to all its citizens. These are called fundamental rights, and nobody can violate these rights, and a citizen can approach the court of law if his or fundamental rights are violated. If you are violated with your rights, then you can approach the court. And in fundamental rights, some example of the fundamental rights will be having the right to equality, right to freedom. These are all a part of fundamental rights. The Constitution also mentions a code of conduct for the citizens called the fundamental duties. Following the fundamental duties help us to become good citizens. Some of the directive principles are equal pay for equal work, human conditions of work, promotion of education and economic interests of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other weaker sections, protection of national monuments, protection and improvement of environment, and safeguarding of forests and wildlife of the country, and lastly, promotion of international peace and security. These are all a part of the directive principles of state policy. It is also partly unitary because the state chief ministers can be summoned by the central leaders for explanation of certain issues. but most of the time it is federal, and hence it is called as partly federal and partly unitary. And in the last, we have parliamentary form of government. We will discuss deeply about this in the next topic, but as a highlights or as an introduction, parliamentary form of government is the we in which both in the center and the state governments, the executive is responsible to the legislature. The prime minister and his cabinet are the real executive, while the president of India is the nominal head. That is the one of the parliamentary form of government. The constitution mentions that India has a parliamentary form of government, and it clearly mentions the powers and functions of the parliament as well. Okay, that's all for today. And coming to the next, we have the assignment. What do you mean by constitutional amendment? Number one. And number two, give 1 point on why we should accept the constitution. You can find this on the textbook as well. And number three, who delivered the speed Trees with Destiny? If you look to your textbook, you will find it. And number four, what do you mean by rigid and flexible in the constitution? And lastly, when did the Constitution of India came into force? Regarding the submissions, you will be informed on your class WhatsApp group respectively. And stay home, stay safe. Thank you.